Now, I know this review for this game is a little bit late, but I've been sort of kind of busy for quite a while, been a bit distracted lately, but I'm finally going to review this and another game, which I'll leave a link somewhere down in the bar or whatnot. But the game I'm reviewing, as you probably know, is the new Metal Gear Rising game, and I've got quite a bit to say about this game, so let's get started. So first off, we always start off with the story. The story is, it's okay, it's like a B-movie type story, you know. Raiden is set to sort of protect someone. He kind of, you know, he then gets attacked by this sort of, these sort of new like terrorist cyborg sort of guys, and not only does he get defeated by one of them, but he also, the person he was protecting dies, and now he goes over this whole, as the title says, sort of like Revengeance or whatever the title's called, like Revengeance. He just wants revenge on it, and that's where the story takes place. And what's pretty good is that's what you probably think the story's going to be, but then there's a wee sort of twist in the story that keeps it a bit more interesting, and I think that is really good. And there's even like another twist, so there's several like kind of twists and turns along the way of this story, and I actually think that's actually pretty cool. Now let's talk about the gameplay. The gameplay for this is amazing, but this is basically a hack and slash game, and what I like about it is the term of hacking. You can literally just you have this sword that can literally cut through everything, well, not everything, but pretty much you can cut through cars, people, cyborgs, but you can even cut through even stones and bridges and woods and whatnot. It's really, really amazing, and it's, you know, and what I like about it as well is this is not a Metal Gear Solid game. This is a completely different sort of franchise on its own. It's a spin-off to probably the Metal Gear series, but what's pretty cool is though you can stealth in it. It's just like, well, if you've got a sword to cut stuff, then why would you want to hide? But I will say this, there's a couple of times you just want to hide because you might not want to face these enemies, because let me be honest though, some of the enemies in this game are freaking tough. That's not even the bosses, right? Bosses I'll get to in a minute. Oh my god, like some of the enemies are really tough, and you're really like, you're just pressing the button, you just want to like kill these freaking down. And what's quite good is you have to pay attention to like the enemies and the bosses, because they have developed some sort of patterns, so you can be able to block and then attack. I think that's a pretty damn cool feature. And as I was going to say, the bosses are like one of the best boss battles you've ever faced. Like each boss battle is different every single way. They're not like the same. And this isn't really going to be a spoiler or anything, because this happens like really at the start of the game, but you kind of get to face Metal Gear Ray. That is awesome, let's be honest, because if you may remember, like you got to face him in Metal Gear Solid 2, but you weren't really kind of like cyborgish, and then in Metal Gear Solid 4, but you got to play as Metal Gear Rex. So Raiden gets to absolutely, you know, kill a Metal Gear is utterly amazing. But this game actually has quite a lot of problems. The first stuff I will point out is it is quite repetitive. I mean, the last boss battle, right? Even though it's really good and genius in how they've done it, it gets stupidly repetitive. You get freaking annoyed by it. I was getting annoyed by it because, you know, it was just every single freaking time. It does get really, really repetitive, and it sometimes feels a bit boring though, with like, you know, blocking and attacking, because you just want to just kind of like get in straight into it. So that can be quite a thing. Some of the levels or stages kind of felt like a PS2 or PS1 stage. Like they're very sort of wide, you know, easy enough to move around. It's not like tight in, like in a tight corridor or tight. Even like when you're in a building, it still feels just wide. And I just think they did that just to save like sort of time and money in order to do it. Fair enough though, like this game had like problems and whatnot, and trying to get this game out quickly was just like a task in itself. I mean, it was done by Platinum Games, the people that made Bayonetta, so obviously it was just that sort of time frame of just trying to quickly get this game out. And because of that, this is where I get to the big problem. The game is quite short. I mean, like, it's really short. Like, you could probably finish this game like in a day, kind of short. I don't know if it's a bad thing or a good thing, but it doesn't really hold a lot of replay value, because you might play it once, like maybe on normal mode, and you might probably want to play it on hard mode, but you just kind of get that feeling like, I don't want to. Like, once you've played it, that's it. That's kind of like the gist. There's no kind of like anything like alternative endings or anything, you know, anything like that. And while there is a lot of like Easter eggs in the game, which is pretty awesome, it's not really kind of one that I was really looking into, and I was just mostly just wanted to sort of hack and slash. So would I buy this game? Well, if you've probably seen it, I didn't really buy it as my brother's game, and but I would rent it. It's a rental for me. If you're a Metal Gear sort of fan, you probably will buy it anyway, but I would say just rent the game, because as I say, you could probably finish it within a day, maybe two, if you're one of those people that just plays it at night kind of thing. Really is quite a quick game, but it's still an enjoyable, satisfying game.